Hi, I'm Lisa DeBenedictis, and I'm so excited to be here with jazz legend Jackie Warren at the brand new home of the Cleveland Steinway Hall. Jackie is an amazing pianist who can play any kind of jazz, straight ahead, Latin, samba, bebop, Cuban jazz, Brazilian jazz, but she also has been in rock bands and she can play classical music. She teaches many students, and she's also a lecturer at and she's an alum of Oberlin College, and she came here from Colorado and loves this area so much that she decided to make it her home. She plays all over the world, and rumor has it that she's going to be playing in Ireland as well.
Yes, hopefully next year.
But you've told me many times that your very favorite instrument to play is a Steinway, right?
It is. I mean, the first Steinway that I actually got to play anything on was when I was in high school. And, you know, I'd been using our pianos at home. We had a Kimball upright and, you know, some various pianos, upright pianos mostly. And I had never played a Steinway before, and at my teacher's house, I got to play my first one, and I got mad. I went home and I was like,
I don't want to play this whole thing.
I couldn't believe how beautiful and wonderful it was, and so it's always been my first choice in recitals. At Oberlin, we had the opportunity to play many different brands of pianos, but like just the best ones were always the Steinway, so that's what I gravitated toward.
So tell me, did you start playing jazz?
No, I started out playing, being from Colorado, you learn, it's not really even country music, it's like cowboy songs. Like,
what part of Colorado?
It's out on the southeastern plains, a little town called Calhan, C-A-L-H-A-N, not Cowhand.
That's what it sounds like.
But it may as well be, because it's like, you know, it was population 600 with the outlying farms and ranches, and I lived on a ranch, grew up there, about 6 miles from the little town, so it was wonderful.
And your mother was your first piano teacher, right?
Yes, she was. I got so lucky. I mean, both my parents play, everybody in my family plays, but not jazz.
Who was the first, like, jazz person that you were, like, accustomed to listening to?
Well, actually, everything came through the television, because, you know, out, you know, where I grew up, there wasn't any jazz radio stations. It's all country and Christian and hard rock. So Mr. Rogers, like the jazz piano on Mr. Rogers, and then my favorite was like the theme from the All in the Family, which is Roger Kellaway. And so I was like, you know, and I would make everybody stop at the end of the program, like no turning the channel. I'm like, this is my jam, please, like, you know, we need to hear this through. So I would like then play all those songs. But the first like serious jazz thing I heard was from a teacher. I was studying in Colorado Springs. When I was a teenager, I started with this wonderful teacher, Myra Boydis, and she played me my first Oscar Peterson recording, and I was like, it's like being struck by lightning. I was like, I'm gonna do that.
And then, how did you get from there to Oberlin?
Well, the same teacher, Myra Boydis, said you need to study classical music, but she also predicted my life for me. She said, you're gonna go to Oberlin for classical music, but you're gonna play jazz and you're gonna perform all over the world and record. And so she made me take lessons from this Juilliard guy. He's the guy who had the Steinway, though, and it was so fabulous. Even though he was a very tough teacher, but I really loved all the classical repertoire. It's like every new music I was exposed to, I'm like, oh, this is great. Oh, I want to Chopin. He had me doing Chopin etudes, and I'm like, that is it. You know, and then like playing Rachmaninoff, oh, like that's it. Like every new thing was it.
And then tell us how you started playing professionally with jazz instead of classical.
Well, it's never been instead of, but just more of. And there's a lot more opportunities for jazz performance. You know, and for classical, if you're a classical pianist, you better win the concerto competition.
Right, it's all about those contests.
Yeah, and then that's how you get recitals.
Well, because there aren't a lot of female jazz pianists. I mean, to this day there aren't.
No, there really aren't. And I mean, I never thought of myself as being, I'm going to break ground and whatever, be a female jazz pianist. I was like, I want to be a jazz pianist. And I mean, just to be able to have the freedom of improvisation, that is the coolest thing ever. Whereas in classical music, you don't get to really have that, even though back in the day that was...
I was gonna say, the classical artists started that whole
I know, right? I would kill to be in like Beethoven's drawing room at like a session, you know? So, but jazz to me, it's more, it's just more fun because there's always some uncertainty. Like, you never know, like, if you're playing with the other musicians, you may never have played with them before. They may come sit in, like at the gig I'm doing later tonight. I might not have played with them. I don't know how they're going to react to what I'm going to do, but you know, we work it out, and it's really fun because you don't know what's going to happen. If I could sing, I would sing them to you.
Well, the really nice thing with, you know, jamming with people like that is you make stuff up as you go. And I know as a writer, some of the best things happen that way. You know, in a writer's room, you know, I write solo, but I've also written in lots of television rooms. And sometimes somebody will just come up with an idea and you run with it and it becomes like its own little piece of heaven, right?
Right. And then sometimes it doesn't work at all. Like what I just played.
So if you had to close with one of your most requested songs when you're live, what would that be?